Hey,
What's happening?
I have a hard time understanding that graphic from that countdown because it looks like snow, but it's going upwards. I don't
It's
know if you noticed that or
it's
not.
ashes. It's
Is that what
ashes
it
from the
is?
ruins. All right, keep that last conversation going. So
Cool.
the potency, I want to know. Let's just dive right into this. There's only 4 people right now. Let's go.
Potency. So there's more impact, and hello to the 4 people that are here. Thanks for joining us. There's more impact in potency because you can get you can get big numbers. Big numbers is fine, but
Okay.
potent impact is going to create bigger and better ripple effects than
Living in that moment all the time, right? This is what you're I mean, this is really what you're living. You're
well
living.
and that's the key is living it, right? Are you living what you're teaching?
Okay.
And should you
Definitely are.
even be teaching something that you're not living for yourself?
Okay. That's what you
Right?
feel like a disconnect. You feel like you're not living the things that you've grown accustomed to teaching.
No, I feel like I'm very good at integrating the work and living it and
Yeah.
doing it. And I think that's what makes me a good teacher is that I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm not just rebarfing out what I'm reading in books or watching on videos or watching what other people are saying.
Yeah, you're definitely
And
the
I
real
think
deal.
and I think that's what's missing from a lot of the coaching world or the teaching world is people are learning and regurgitating instead of sitting with what they're learning and integrating it before sharing it with others.
Right. So to me, it's like obviously people are going to come to you with problems, I assume. I mean,
Yeah.
that seems, but you're saying, okay,
Well, yes
yes,
and no.
yes,
Yes and no.
and okay.
So I would say when I look at, when I look at
Yeah.
the collective, which in its prime had over 700 members, the collective was founded on the concept of power manifesting. So it was about people saying, "How do I get the external reality things that I want?"
Right.
And that was the building blocks of the collective. I would say the building blocks of School of Expansion, which is what we run now, isn't founded on manifestation because we've expanded to a place where we understand that manifestation is old news. It's not about manifestation anymore. The reality that you want is the reality where you're connected with source and you're attuned to the frequency of overflow. And you understand that when you live your authentic truth and you follow your authentic excitement and your authentic impulses, that everything you need to support you in that journey, whether it be financial or anything else, continues to show up. So, from that vantage point, you always have everything you need and you're living the most satisfying life that you could be living.
And is it different than like just shoving your head in the sand? Is it a different thing? You know what I'm saying? Like to me, it's for a lot of my things, it's like, okay, just either ignore or don't give focus to the negative thing. But then I also
Yeah, but
don't like,
you
yeah,
have to remember that the negative thing is present
right.
because it's there as a co creation with your inner being to bring you an awareness. So if you're ignoring that negative thing, you're essentially ignoring your opportunity for expansion.
Oh, okay. So that is that like bumper that's guiding you back.
Totally.
Okay. But like, so to me, it's always like I hear her say, like Abraham-Hicks says, go to bed or whatever, wake up, like
Get
take a
off the top.
nap, right?
Yeah.
Get off
And
topic.
and that's a good first step. When you're really in negative momentum,
Yeah.
your first step is always finding your alignment, right? So if you need to do that to find your alignment, then that's a good thing in the moment. But you got to remember too that Esther's intention in the Abraham-Hicks work is upliftment.
Right.
And there's a difference between, in my opinion, there's a difference between upliftment and transformation or expansion. Sure, you can't escape transformation and expansion, because it's always going to be a theme in everybody's reality. It's always on the table. The rate at which you expand and experience transformation is up to you.
Right.
And the more you ignore your problems and try not to face them, the longer it's going to take. And
Mm.
the more contrasty they're going to get, because sources like, well, they're not getting the message. What do we got to do to make it worse? Or what do we got to do to get through to them? Right.
And does that go with every so I think that there's different levels of negative emotions, right? Like if you have a debt collectors coming, that different than, because you do want to deal with that even if you want to ignore it, right? Versus I'm just like kind of in a bad mood and that might pass anyway, ignore it or not.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's levels to that too.
Absolutely. And I feel like,
Okay.
it starts at an easier level. And then as momentum continues to build because you're not getting the message, then that contrast and those negative emotions um, get more and more intense.
So I listened to a clip yesterday where she was. I mean, it's the same message all the time, but I sometimes hear it different, right?
Yeah.
And so she was talking about like being in a high flying space and then setting the intention for everything, right? Like, and it's what you practice, right? It's what you talk about all the time, and so maybe I would be curious how many people do that, like are that way, and I assume that
Well,
you
I
are.
think I think a lot of people are doing their intention setting from a place of something is uncomfortable in my reality. I need to
Right.
manifest this other thing in order to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's not, you're not coming at it from the right angle, because when you're doing that, you're automatically already pushing against the problem, which amplifies the problem. You can't get to the solution from the energy of the problem.
Right. So do you think that that's the shift in this, like, how you wanna teach? Is because
I
maybe
think
you have been I would be surprised if you're doing the things I'm doing, like, doing that, right? You're probably always intentioning from a high space. You're
I
probably
think
always living a fairly high space.
what comes to mind on that topic is what we talked about. I don't know if we talked about it here last week or if I talked
Mm,
about it in School of Expansion, but it's the concept of understanding that there's the desires of the human Nick,
mhm.
and then there's the desires of the highest timeline Nick, or the 100% source connected Nick. And because there's all these multiple reality versions of Nick, then there's also different levels and different desires for all those different versions of me. So at any given moment, what I've been doing lately when it comes to desires is checking in. There's an intention, or there's an impulse, or there's an excitement about a desire, and I like, okay, is this a human Nick desire, or and does this desire also match the desire of my highest timeline? And there's
Yeah,
no wrong desire. Human
sure.
desires are just as valid as highest timeline Nick desires. But for me, who wants to be living in my highest timeline reality, the only way I can do that is by embodying highest timeline Nick and making decisions from that vantage point.
Has it become a practice? Like, by doing that all the time, you probably don't even have to pause to
Right,
question
right,
that?
right now it's a bit of a practice, but I know
Okay.
that over time, as I practice it enough, it'll become like an automatic thing.
Do you feel different doing it? Have you felt a change?
Maybe later,
Okay. Yeah,
um,
like a more maybe it's more you. Maybe it's more
more
comfortable.
more confident in my decision makings.
Okay.
It's almost like like a cross check. I'm like, "Oh, here's a desire. Does that match
Yeah.
up my highest timeline? Yeah, it does. Okay, perfect. Let's go with it."
And when you say match up your highest timeline, that's a feeling?
It's like another version of Nick that I can tap into.
And it's saying yes.
Yeah.
Like you're yeah. So, yeah, oh, it's so good. It's too good, right? Like, it's
Well, it's
because
and I wish all of these people in the audience were here on the call with us, because I would love to ask everyone, like, what way is the more exciting way to experience your reality? Is it the reality where you're constantly chasing after manifestations and likely unsatisfied, like most people are who are constantly chasing manifestation?
Mm,
Or is it the reality where you're connected to source, you're following your impulses, you're living in highest excitement, you're attuned to the vibration of overflow? Things just keep showing up for you. Like that is such a different physical reality experience than consciously saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I want that. How do I make these things happen? What do I need to do to manifest them?
right. Yeah, because so does it matter? Are you somehow like less like if it doesn't manifest, it's whatever? Is it a cop out? Because I know you've wanted a yacht, right? Let's say a yacht. Have
It's
you?
like it's
Oh,
I would say it's more like a wouldn't it be nice if. So like right now, we've been going on 2 years with the intention of manifesting what I'm calling this forest playground, right? And like yesterday, there was a new listing that came up. It's 180 acres, an hour and a half from here, exactly where we wanted. It's on a lake. It's got 100 meters of elevation from the start to the back of the property. Everything about it looks amazing. I'm excited about it. I contacted somebody who flies drones to go scope it out for me.
mm,
If it's not the property, will I be disappointed? Maybe 1%. But the journey to the property is so much fun and so exciting that part of me even hopes that that's not the property. Right. So
right,
it's like the ride is so delicious, you don't care when the ride ends. And if the
right,
ride ends, you don't care either because you know you're going to get on another exciting ride.
right. So, do you feel like ideas are like that too? Do you? So, have you ever had? Because I've played around with like, okay, the idea is sometimes just good enough. Like, I don't want to have to do some of the stuff I want to do. Like, oh, I have this amazing idea, and it's like,
And that's actually a good thing. So a lot of people, I think, they get these ideas and then they jump into action and effort to try to make it happen before there's time for the momentum of that idea to build.
right. Staying connected to the flow seems to be the work.
I don't like the words the work because it's almost when you allow it to be, staying connected to the flow almost becomes automatic.
Right. Mm, but when it's not automatic,
Oh, it's
it's the
when it's not
practice
on
at least.
it,
It's the practice at least.
yeah, and I would say the biggest practice is like stop giving power away to circumstance. The
Oh,
biggest way, I would say the biggest way that most people disconnect from flow is in the noticing or the depending on reality to be different than what it currently is.
right. So how do you deal with that? I mean, you're just constantly in the flow. Okay, let's
No,
say you pop
you
out.
don't look for flow to fix that problem.
Right, right,
You stop you learn how to not allow circumstances to be the defining factor of how you're going to allow yourself to feel.
right. There is no problem is essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about reframing how you perceive problem.
Right. That it's
If if
guidance.
if what you're perceiving as a problem is actually there for your growth, your upliftment, your expansion, your leveling up, is it actually a problem? It's uncomfortable, but just because it's uncomfortable doesn't make it a problem.
Right. And it's there no matter what. I mean, I think that when I first started studying all this, the thought would be that those go away. And maybe they do under your thing because you're reframing them different in your mind.
Yeah, it's just the easy way to say it is just it's simply a greater state of, it's like pure allowance.
So,
Roll in with the punches, but they don't feel like punches.
okay. So, yeah, here she's saying enjoy what is. I was looking on a bunch of stuff on Reddit, just
Reddit.
perusing Reddit.
Yeah,
I think 99% of the problems or the questions had to do with relationships.
that's interesting. Yeah.
I know, right? It was surprising. I don't know what maybe the holiday season's coming up and people have a yearning for that. with that, I don't know. I don't feel like ever relationship problems because they're always wanting to meet someone. They're like, as soon as I meet the right guy, as soon as I meet the right person, right? They use SP. I don't know what SP meant. I'm looking for
special person.
special person.
I think that's my guess.
Or a specific person. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I would guess that they're meeting lots of people all the time and it's not the right one. It's not the right one. It's not the right one.
Yeah, and part of the reason it continues to be not the right one is because they continue to focus on the fact that none of these people are the right one. So of course you're going to attract more of not the right oneness.
Right. Do you think people like get addicted to the problem?
I think our minds like to be focused on problems.
Okay. Something to solve.
Yeah, and there's excitement in solving. So for me, when I worked in tech, I was known as the optimization engineer. I was known as the guy that could solve the more complex stuff that people had a hard time figuring out. And to me, I always got a high out of that. I love challenges. I love things that are more complex and difficult to solve. It's just to me, to my mind, it was fun. And I think that's part of the reason that I was able to master law of attraction as much as I have is that sheer inner drive to seek for mastery.
Right. And I think your stuff has developed over time too, right?
Well, it's always evolving.
It is.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a next level thing? Or do you think someone can just dive into this right now and skip all that other stuff?
It depends on who they're listening to.
Okay.
Right. So I've got 20 years of experience roughly in this world and making it practical and troubleshooting. So my process is like belief tree process and my attraction point audit. Those are things that I came up with as I studied this work. So it maybe took me 5 years to formulate those processes. Well, somebody can come along and read my book or watch one of my videos or take one of my trainings and learn those things within weeks rather than within 5 years. So people always say, yeah, you've got all the answers within. Sure, but receiving answers through co-creative unfoldings is just as valid as receiving something from within.
Do you think that as part of a collective, and was this your intention, as having a collective or a school of expansion, right? It's a group of people. Is there more power in that, or it's just kind of fun to like meet like people? Is
I
there
think
intention behind it?
Yeah, there's intention. And I think that part of the power is in like, so there's power in just attuning to the vibration. So like, you know how people go to therapy once a week and they get lots out of therapy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like the power of this is you come in, but like, when you're getting in this Zoom call with me and with Anik and all these other people who are focused on living that high vibrational frequency or that high vibe life, then as soon as you walk into that room, you're also attuning to that frequency.
Yeah.
Right?
It's instant.
So you don't even have to listen to the calls like consciously. You can sit there and just listen and zone out, and I think you'd still get the benefits. Whether you're
it's surprising how often the question is answered. You don't even have to raise your hand. I'm not going to ever raise my hand because the question's answered.
And here's even deeper. Does the question even need to be answered?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's fun to have the question answered.
Oh,
Let's be
yeah,
honest.
totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clarity is great.
Not to discount questions, right? But really, for where we're going, I think we want to step out of the intellect more and step into inner guidance more. And to me, what that looks like is less trying to solve it, less trying to figure out, less reading books, less knowledge accumulation, and more just attuning to where our inner guidance leads us.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that's, I was listening to where she was talking about opening your heart, right? This is from last week, right? And I wasn't resonating like enough with it. Like actually the second questions and stuff fit me better, but maybe it just planted that seed, right? And I am fascinated because here I am bringing it up it up now. I am fascinated by that. Like, I almost don't know what it is at all, but there's
What
something true about it.
Yeah, and what really, I've always, studying spiritual stuff for like 20 years, of course there's always been emphasis on living with an open heart and blah blah blah. And to me that's always sounded cheesy and like cliche.
Mhm.
And what I've learned in the last year is that your level of receptivity correlates to your level of open-heartedness,
Mm,
meaning that if you picture a satellite receiver as your channel of receptivity, you can only hold as much as how open your heart is. So somebody who's living with a very closed up heart, their pipe or their channel or their flow of receptivity and what they can hold is so much smaller than somebody who's living wide open and receptive.
that you think that's connected to, like, the life, like, it's connected to the heart life force?
Yeah, I think it's the two things they keep coming back to is nervous system and open
Oh,
heart.
oh.
That those are the two things that really relate to your connection to source.
So, go into the nervous system, because I am almost resonating more with that for right now. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, most people's nervous systems are just shot is a bit of a strong word, but
Sure,
most people are
fried.
most people are living in fight or flight. Most people are stressed out. Most people are living ungrounded. Most people are stuck in their minds. So people's nervous systems are not calm and relaxed. Most people's nervous systems are all over the place.
And so, like, do you have, like, a practice where you suggest people, just chill it out for a while? How long do you have to
Yeah.
chill it out, do you think?
For me, my nervous system is living when I'm awake to be grounded as much and as often as possible. So today, I'm not drinking coffee. I'm
Mm,
drinking a green tea called Gen Mica, something like that. And it's got like roasted rice or something in it.
what?
And like when I drink it, it's super grounding. It's like I can feel myself being anchored into my body, um, which is almost the opposite effect of what caffeine has in coffee, which is again agitation and activation and of the nervous system.
Do you get that with water? If it was just water and not the tea, would you have that same effect?
The grounding effect, not nearly as much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it feels like something inside you going to work?
It's like so the grounded feeling is just feeling yourself like in your body, right? Oh, Kat said it. Jen Micah. She typed it in the chat window. I don't know how to pronounce it. If it's Maicha
Yeah.
or Maicha. Um, so we were at the mall yesterday. And Nick had to pick some stuff up. I was like, oh, I want to go wander around for a bit. And I walked by a tea shop. I was like, oh, I love tea. I'm going to go in and check out what they have.
Mm.
And then I started chatting with the guy, and I told him I drink a lot of different types of green teas. Looking for something new, and he said this one's my favorite. And he showed it to me, and he said it's called the poor man's green tea because it's green tea mixed with like roasted rice or something. It almost smells like burnt popcorn a little bit. As hard as it,
Interesting.
but it's when I drank it, I was like, I immediately just felt myself just whoosh and ground and slow down.
Okay, so, like, take that into the thing. So so now your nervous system's chilled. How long did it take for you to, like, kinda, like, adopt that? And
I,
and
I felt the sensation almost immediately.
with the tea, you're saying?
Yeah.
Really? And so, like, it's just, like, a completely different perspective of things, of life?
I would say it's not about different perspectives. It's that when you're grounded in your body, that connection to source is more apparent.
Right.
So think about it. You can't be up here and your mind going a million miles an hour and receive downloads at the same time,
Okay.
right? So it's like when you're in your body and out of your head is when the downloads have a tendency to come through. That's why a lot of people get their downloads in the shower or when they're driving their car and just observing beautiful scenery, right? Or
Right,
meditation.
right.
Meditation.
Okay, so that's essentially you've got liquid meditation.
Sure, if you want to call it that.
I do
I
wanna
don't say
call
I don't
that.
know if it's that
I think that
good.
that's the branding for it.
Yeah.
I've got liquid crack is what I've got. I'm buzzing.
Maybe we should have our own brand of matcha that we could start branding and selling. We'll rename it from coffee and co-creation to
Chin matcha.
green tea and co-creation. It doesn't have the right ring to it though.
No, I think you know another tea. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this washing dishes. I hear that a lot.
That's another one. Yep.
Right. And so I would be curious for a lot of people, like what kind of downloads they're getting. Like what Yeah, because sometimes they're like really profound, right? And sometimes it's just a sensation, okay, maybe I should do this thumbnail.
Sometimes it's a reminder to take the garbage out.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes it's an idea for a great ebook.
Okay, here we go. The uppers and downers together, right? That's that cocktail.
Yeah, cat's
Highball.
all about the uppers and downers. Thanks, Cat.
See, I like this too, right? The alignment with experience and discoveries today. I want to hear more.
And I love the word today. Right?
Okay.
And I would even get more specific and change the word today to right now.
Right, this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was at this thing the other day. So do you do anything with like the sun eclipse, the solar eclipse? You,
No,
you guys don't mess around with any of that?
I mean, Nick does all the astrological, sidereal astrology analysis of all this stuff. But no, nothing here.
So I don't know if it was part of that, but it was a thing that day, right? When it was a sound bath and she had bowls and it was great. But she started talking about how she had taken a course and they were embodying red, the color red. I have found that so fascinating. Have you ever played around with and I've heard about people meditating as the Mother Mary.
Okay.
Or meditating as Jesus, like embodying that in that. The thought of red, thinking of red, that's been so fascinating for me today. Like, have you ever played around with any of that?
No.
You're getting your sensations through Nick, right? I almost think for me it would be like it would open up my heart more. I would be more empathetic. I would think in a different way. It's always, again, the word thought came to mind because it is like that's how I go.
Yeah, I would say what you're doing is like, I think we all have definitions, whether it's conscious or unconscious, around different colors and what those colors mean and represent. So as you focus in on the color red, you tune to that frequency of your definitions around the color red.
Right.
So one person, the color red, they might associate that to like horror movies and blood and gore.
Sure.
And another person might associate the color red to Valentine's and love
or root chakras, right?
Or root chakra. I think what you're doing and focusing in on the frequency of the color is you're focusing on the frequency of those things you associate that color to.
Right. And I think probably the same as if you meditate as someone else. I found that so fascinating. The thought of like embodying, even if it's just opening your mind to what that person would feel or how that person would.
Totally.
It's such a fun practice, right?
Totally.
What we got? Oh, okay. Acting school, right? Yeah. So I'm curious about that too. Like, have you played like the vibrations of, you play chakras or do any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, through all the different healing modalities and trainings I've done, we played with chakras. A lot of people, I would say, get concerned, not the right word, but I'm preoccupied with, is my chakra open? Is it closed? Is it spinning the right way? And what I tell people is let all that stuff line itself up.
Sure.
Like find your alignment, find your find your inner peace and get to a good space within, and all of that stuff will line itself up automatically.
Yeah, and I think Nick had said, even just, are you open? Are you open? Are you closed right now? And thinking of that is so powerful.
And the biggest indicator of that is how relaxed you feel in your body, how much tension you feel in your body.
So sometimes the tension is excitement though, right? And so are you less
Oh,
open
that's
when you're excited?
interesting. So do you think excitement creates tension in the body?
I'm excited right now and I feel it in my back. Like, and maybe it's the caffeine, but I'm like, I want to like go forward right now. It is an
Interesting.
exciting feeling, right? I feel very much.
And can you feel that excitement and allow yourself to relax into your body at the same time?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, it's there. The two
Okay.
are in harmony,
Yeah.
but it is a driver. It's a forward. I feel a forward momentum. Like I was doing a qigong thing, and they do like a forward and back, and how you feel that in your body.
Yep.
And I keep moving forward.
I noticed that too. I was doing a video the other day and I noticed that I move around a lot when I talk on video and talk about spiritual stuff. And I'm guessing it's like something to do with energy flowing or something like that.
Well, yeah, or caffeine.
Or caffeine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Again,
I'm sure there's teas. I'm sure there's lots of things that are supportive for nervous systems. I next got me on a bunch of supplements. One's called adrenal support, I think.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
what's in that? Do you
I have
know?
no idea.
Yeah, you just
She just tells me what to take and I take it at the least resistance.
do you take a lot of supplements?
I take vitamins, a couple of vitamin B supplements, the adrenal support, vitamin C, and a couple other ones that I don't even know what they do, and I just tell them to take them.
Yeah, so I had done depression treatments, and like one of the things they tested testosterone. My testosterone was great, but vitamin D levels were like nothing.
I think which is
And
common.
so just taking this stupid little vitamin D pill, dude, for 5 years I felt different.
Wow.
Yeah, my whole life I've been living with this thing, and it was just a vitamin D deficiency.
Do you spend a lot of time outside?
No. No. I'm so pale. No, I don't know if there's some like agoraphobic thing inside me, but even the idea, like if like we put like a tent structured, I don't know like a I don't even know what to call it, but
Like a covered patio.
gazebo almost, right? A covered thing on the
Yeah.
deck, and somehow I can be outside then. But without that, I don't know.
Just
Without
my
something to do. If I got to go for a walk, I love that. But
Yeah, my daughter's the same. Both my kids, they're not sun people. I'm totally a sun person. I would spend the entire 24 hours a day outside in the sun. Well, I do in the summertime. Um,
I like the sun because I'll stand next to my window and just bake. I love that. No, there's something like uncomfortable, like I don't know. I've thought about it, but haven't thought about it type thing.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So I gotta have purpose. I gotta go to work out there, you know?
I bet astrologically there's something around that. I should get Nick to check that out.
Probably. Yeah, I got a cool sign too. Like it's like this like triangle-y grand trine, whatever it is. I don't know stuff.
Yeah, you'll have to send me your info. I'll get Nick to take a look at it.
What happened? Okay, let me ask you this. What happens like because I've heard like you don't want to like put that out. Let's say I put it on this real quick. I guess I don't know what would happen, but they say like that's kind of dangerous. Like, could like people in the chat manipulate me? Is that what it is?
Because they know yours. Say that again.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the question is I don't even understand it. But like, yeah, if I give you the exact point of my birth, like
People
all
know.
the details, right? Do you somehow have like is that dangerous?
So
Okay. Okay. No, I've heard people be guarded with that.
really, yeah, no.
No. It is what it is. And if people have the like want to manipulate, how cool that would be, right? All right. Mindset trumps everything for me. So it may not be excitement, simply everything is okay and satisfied with that. I feel funny asking this to you guys, but why are women in majority all groups related to alignment and spiritual stuff?
I think it's just women are more receptive to it all.
It's like an 80-20 split, I think, right?
or even like 85-15. I mean,
On
I
my
guess it depends on who you go see. I bet if you go to Joe Dispenza, you'd see a lot more guys than you see at Abraham-Hicks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, on my channel, like on the animated Abraham, it was consistently 80-20.
Was it?
Yeah, which is funny because, like, honestly, that was most things people weren't supposed to women aren't typically on YouTube, but that's the perception in YouTube world. It's mostly male driven.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And then for me, yeah, it was like, oh, well, for us, right? I mean, I would assume all your 85-15, like you said.
Oh, I would say for my stuff, it's like almost 90-10.
Oh, even more. Well,
Yeah.
think about when you go to a Abe conference or what's on the cruise. It's probably although the
Yeah.
cruise might
Well,
be
I would say right now in my in the School of Expansion Mastery group, I think there's probably about 15-ish students who are part of the mastery group, and there's only one guy.
oh, okay. Is it a thing where they're just more receptive to it or
I think women are more internally focused.
okay. Really?
So they're more open to exploring their internals.
And
Yeah,
men
I think.
aren't?
I mean, my social circle here includes a lot of guys who are, but that's just because they're guys who have that common hobby, who are also interested in this stuff. But if I went to a bar downtown or somewhere's downtown that's unrelated to
Mm,
spiritual stuff, um, most of the guys, even though some, want to maybe live a better life or live a good life, I think it's just most guys are focused on maybe career and hockey and kids and
you think it's a guardedness?
lack of wanting to be vulnerable, perhaps.
So for yourself, I wonder what it was. Did you like go through therapy at all as like a kid? Like I'm trying to find the relation because I definitely did that, like therapies
I
my
think
mom
for
pushed.
me, I've always just been very curious
Yeah,
and I've never allowed fear to hold me back. So like, the first healing modality training that I did was the Reiki levels. And like I remember thinking, oh, all the guys at work would make fun of me for taking this training, but I was like, man, so what? I don't give a shit.
sure, of course. Yeah, I think with the Joe Rogan, like I think because I think a lot of men fall into the Joe Rogan thought of mushrooms or DMT experiences. So I think that's going to change a lot of things.
Yeah, I think that feels safer too because there's an aspect of it that still feels external. Even though it's an internal
Yes,
experience, um, there's still an external perception around taking something that's external to me in order to have an experience.
sure, but maybe it opens the door. Maybe
Absolutely.
it shifts. Yeah, yeah. Have you done any DMT? Have you done any of that stuff?
I have never been interested in
Ayahuasca.
drugs, none of it.
It's wild.
Yeah, and I don't oppose it. I think for me in my journey, I have no desire for an external, let's call it external amplifier,
Sure.
um, um, to trigger certain things. I don't feel like there's a need for it for me, at least for where I'm at in my journey.
No, nothing. You've not played around with anything? Yeah. Huh. Do you think it would shift? Are you afraid of that? Or like would it's just not interesting, I suppose. And so it would be a
Well,
bad
to me,
experience.
it feels artificial, even though it's a very real experience. It's still like artificially induced, and I think that's the aspect of it to me that doesn't appeal to me.
Right. Yeah, I think for my thing, so I had done ketamine treatments and it and it might have been just a dissociative. And
Yeah,
so it blasted open a lot of ideas.
yeah, I
Like
heard it
things that
does.
were like keeping me stuck, right? Just went away and didn't matter anymore. And that lasts for quite a while.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. But then you like I'll get feelings like if I'm high I think, oh wow, I'm so creative and I think a different way. But I think a lot of that is like you said. I think it's already there. Of course, it's already there, and you're
Yeah,
just maybe playing. I'm playing a game where it's like, oh, I just forgot I knew that.
I think what the substances do is they remove blocks of resistance or filters, if that's what you want to call them, to certain connection. So when you're fully connected, taking substances like that can't connect you more because you're already fully connected. But if
Right.
there's parts of you that are pinched off, and I think that's why it helps with depression. So at the absolute most rudest level of depression, I think it's some form of pinching off from source in some way. And I think what these substances do is for those moments when they're in that state, that pinching off is removed, and then you're really connecting to something at a deeper level, which maybe isn't automatic or isn't normal when you're in your normal state. And once that unpinching occurs, thanks to the substance, then I think sometimes for some people it sticks. And I think that's why those substances can be so healing for a lot of people.
How
They're
about like a thing? Go ahead. Yeah.
they're like bringing in the awareness of a connection that was not aware that was possible prior to the
Right.
substance.
See, that's a big one. And then but there is a desire to keep, because there's probably more information that I'm blocking, right? And so you want to keep doing that. What about something like a sauna or a runner's high? Do you ever play around with that? Like you feel different in those situations.
I think you feel really good, but I'm not receiving any more downloads than I get on my
Okay.
data.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, men went off hunting and warring. That's definitely us.
Hmm.
Cat.
Uh,
Like catching a cat in your background.
uh, mhm.
So what about like, okay, I keep thinking of like, is there wild stuff you got? Like you ever dive into UFO stuff? I keep thinking because it's like spooky season.
A
Do you play
long,
around?
long, a
Okay.
long time ago, I used to, we had, and I listened to UFO stuff and researched UFO stuff, but like, now that I'm aware of Bashar and Anik channels and I'm very confident that I understand UFO stuff. I think what we label as extraterrestrials are just interdimensional beings who
Okay.
exist beyond the 3D, right? So some of them might be quasi-physical, some of them are not, but from what has come through from Anik or what you see in Bashar and stuff like that, you can tell that there's still an unconditional love present inside what comes through. So for me, I feel like, people are seeking, there's all these people seeking first contact and think aliens are going to come down and save us. And that's not the case.
Is it a thing where it's just like a desire for external, like it's a desire for
Yeah.
God? It's a God. Is that what it is for real?
It's more external seeking to solve an internal discomfort.
And so like I don't really know Bashar stuff, so maybe you can help me out. But so is that one, is it he's an alien, or I don't know anything
It's
about,
so supposedly, so Daryl Anka is the channel,
right?
and supposedly Bashar is Daryl like 900 years into the future.
Oh, okay. So
And
it's the
and
same.
and the first years of him channeling was very much Abraham-Hicks like about the
Mm,
nature of reality and spirituality. And over time, his audience grew more and more into the alien side of things. And it's people asking questions about how many hybrid children they have and when is first contact going to happen. And
oh,
so, and to me, that stuff is less exciting for me
okay.
because to me, I don't see the purpose behind those things because it's just not part of my path.
Because it's nonfiction, or it's fiction to you. I mean, it's fiction,
It's
and then you
no,
want
it's
to.
I would say it's nonfiction, but it's not relevant to me in my reality right here, right now.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like, but do you, I mean, you like to create a story? You want to go out and have an adventure today, or any of that? Is there any part of you, or do you want to just like solve things?
Right now, it's just what's my excitement. So right now, my excitement
Okay.
is building the sauna.
Right.
Right? So that's kind of what I'm doing in my spare time right now. It's, where do I get the ideal materials? Where do I put the vent? What glass should I use? So for me, it's the fun of, and you and I have talked about this. We're both very creative individuals. We love to create. I
Mhm.
think you and I in our DNA, we have a creator frequency that's present, and that's part of what lights us up.
Do you think everyone doesn't?
I don't know. I don't think everybody has that.
Really?
I think everybody has a creator element to some extent, but I think not everybody is thriving to create as much as I think you and I do.
Mm. Yeah, or maybe they're just not perceiving it because like I was texting my wife and I mean that is creation to me. Like that conversation is going to go a certain way and it's exciting. It's a story, right?
Yeah.
And she never viewed it that way. And I think a lot of my energy goes to that too. It's fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, when I look at the things that I really enjoy doing, so like writing books, cooking, building things, whether it be a website or a sauna, like they all have a very creative creator aspect to them.
But you're talking to so many people a day. You must get some fulfillment out of that as well, or are you not feeling like that's a creation?
There's less to me when I'm interacting with people, it's more of like a channel, like
Oh, it is.
back and forth interaction.
Mm, okay. Yeah, no. Okay. Because I definitely feel that too. I just feel like that's a so you when you're building your sauna, you don't think that that's a channeled creation?
I absolutely do,
Okay,
but
so it all is.
yeah, yeah.
All right. I just found it like interesting. Like maybe it's a perception thing. Maybe there's people that I mean, maybe everyone is creative. I would assume. I don't know. I've just
I
felt this my whole life.
Yeah, I think so, but in different ways, in different potencies and different topics. Um, and maybe there's even different definitions of creating.
That's what I feel, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just you're creating a life experience. I mean, that's
I
our
would say
whole everything.
I would say creating is a form of expression.
Is there
And
a do we have a
I think
destiny?
I think we're all here to express in different ways.
Okay.
So I think the more you're living as your authentic self, the more you're expressing what you came here to express in human form.
Do you think it's like been pre-paved? Is it a destiny thing?
I think there is a predefined path we intend to walk, but I don't think walking that path is something that's enforced.
Right. There's free will.
Yeah. So the more you're living as your authentic self and following your authentic excitements and your authentic impulses, the more you're living out the path you came here to live and explore.
Okay. Do you ever like predict the future? Not predict, but like do you forward project anymore?
I I used to have precognitive dreams as a child
Ooh, I
where
love that.
I would wake up from a dream and be like, well, that was a strange dream. And then, like, within the next few days, I would experience it as if I had already watched that scene on TV.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it stopped happening when I hit my teens. It might have occurred like two or three times as an adult. It's almost like it's like deja vu, but you remember the deja vu coming from a dream that you watched, a week prior.
Yeah, I had that a lot around the Matrix years. I mean, I
Have
was
you seen,
17.
have you seen the movie The Creator?
No, I heard it's really good.
Oh, go see it. It's
Okay.
definitely, to me, it's as good as The Matrix.
Oh, really?
Um, Maybe more thought provoking. Probably one of the most thought provoking movies I've seen in probably over a decade.
Okay, I'm on it. Yeah, I like that it was made with the same camera I own, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just a Sony FX3,
Okay. Yeah, it was really good.
$3,000 camera.
It really explored the concept of love in a way that I don't want to say too much about the movie,
No, I'll watch.
but go see it.
So what about like lucid dreaming or anything like that? Do you play around with that or have had that?
I've never had those experiences. I know lots of people who have. I've read lots of books on it years ago, but I've never experienced it.
Is that I guess what's the intention behind that for most people? Are they trying to predict the future type thing or
I don't know. I think it's a fun experience to
okay.
have.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any real practical benefit to it. Um, but yeah, that's not something I've ever had a chance to play in.
There's a thing about like where you were saying like the manifesting like you would have the dream. I don't know. There's something there's either something magical about like this, but everything I've mentioned on this thing it comes true. Like even just like a flippant, oh, I need a haircut. Or I need to manifest a hairdresser. Because it was literally like right after the call, hairdresser gets a hold of you. Like that it is it is fun to manifest.
Would you say you're noticing that manifestation's happening faster?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely say so.
And that's a sign of a more expanded receiver.
Okay.
So like the more connected you are to source, the more living you are, the more you're living with that strong connection, the more you experience like those synchronicities and those unfoldings.
And nothing to be done about it, kind of thing. It's just feeling better, I guess.
It's just the deliciousness of the journey, right?
Okay.
It's like, wow, life is so magical when I don't have to figure shit out, when I don't have to worry about my problems, when everything that I need shows up when I need it. So like there's such a weight lifted off your shoulders when you realize that you can just coast through reality when living in alignment. When I say coast through reality, that's in a way that's fun and delicious, not bypassing reality.
Right. Yeah, because I think a lot of times, I don't know, maybe for me, it's drifting, or it's like floating down a river. Where's it going to take me next? But you can paddle too, right? I
Yeah,
assume you're paddling,
or it's like floating from magical moment to magical moment to magical moment.
like expecting it almost.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Oh, here we go. Subtle suggestions from source. Everyone loves it. Look at she's so happy to be here.
Hey, Lydia.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I'm kind of out. Like I really wanted to get into spooky stuff, but if you're not seeing aliens,
You're in Halloween mode.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Onyx had
fun, right?
Onyx had some alien visitation experiences. Um, I'll let her share about them sometime. Maybe she can come on the call and chat about those things. But I think that when people talk about things like spirit guides, we have alien guides as well, or spirits aren't necessarily from human form. They could be from other interdimensional forms as well.
Well, and people, angels or fairies and all that. It's the same. Is it one and the same?
Yeah, I
Or
think
what
so.
is it? I don't know. You think so?
Yeah.
It's just is it us? Is it us as like you said, it's him 900 years from now, or it's you, your higher self? Is that what it is?
Why wouldn't it be?
Sure, right?
I mean, if everything is happening here and now and everything is happening all at once, then all versions of us across all timelines exist.
Mm. So can you all right, have you played around with timeline hopping then? Do you like, okay, today I'm gonna be
I think we're timeline hopping all the time. Every time
okay.
you shift your frequency, you're hopping to a new timeline.
How far can you go? Can I be a cowboy later today? Can I
That's up to
It's not a
you.
big deal. I
Of
can.
course, go buy yourself a pair of boots, and there you go. You're a cowboy. Yeehaw!
I'm gonna hold some people up is what. Oh, here we go. 2026, there's gonna be aliens arriving. Well, that's too far away.
Yeah, and we've heard of alien predictions. Somebody must have predicted an aliens arrive. I mean, aliens are already here,
Why not,
right?
right?
I mean, if we're channeling aliens, we're having conversations with aliens, why does it matter whether they're physically here with us or not?
Right. And I think that that's part of thought. Like, to me, it's part of thought. Like, isn't that the same?
Part of
Or do you
consciousness.
connect with thought? This is my thought. This is my thought.
No, every thought
No?
comes. I think a thought has two potential originating sources, either your inner critic, your mind, or source.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm good. Anything else that you want to say?
I don't know. Does anybody else in the chat
Yeah, please.
have any? What do you guys want to hear us talk about? What topic has been on everybody's mind?
What are they going to say? Predict it
I don't
before
know.
they say it.
Lydia, you've always got something fun on the go. What do you have on the go?
When's your next call?
There's no School of Expansion call today, so the next call would be next Wednesday.
And what is it? Is it her?
That's a live
Bigger
hot
question.
seat. That's a live hot seat channeling with Anik.
Which
is
is
always fun.
aliens.
Jason wants to talk about aliens. I don't find there's a whole lot to say about aliens.
Well, if you're not interested, and I don't know anything about it, yeah.
What's
husbands that look down on spiritual stuff. Okay, here's a good question though, right?
How is that a problem?
Right. And how does it affect her, right? How does it affect right?
So it's like, somebody has the choice to be an angry person. So if I want to be angry, I have the choice to be angry, and there's nothing wrong with me being an angry person. Right? I get to choose to experience my physical reality in whatever way I want to experience it. I can look up on spiritual stuff. I can look down on spiritual stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if the complaint is that my husband or my wife or my partner looks down on it, how is that a problem?
Right.
Is it a problem because it makes me feel invalidated? Is it a problem because what's the trigger in me? Because it's never about the circumstance, it's about the perception we have about the circumstance.
Yeah, like look at your cat. I am so fascinated of this cat. The cat doesn't care about this spiritual stuff, right? But you're not letting it get you down.
No, of course
you're
not.
finding a collective of people to talk about it with, right? I mean, right?
Totally.
Yeah. Branching out. How about this? Nervous system set points.
I've never heard of that term before.
Okay. What do you think that could be? Like
makes me think of maybe like acupuncture points or something.
Right.
I know there's
or because you have your tapping, right?
There's specific pressure points to calm the nervous system down. So maybe it's got something to do with that. I know anytime there's a hands-on aspect, it helps calm the nervous system too.
Is that part of Reiki too? I know it's not hands-on.
I don't think so. I don't think Reiki addresses specifically the nervous system, but I'm sure.
What does it do?
It runs universal life force through you.
Oh, but the practitioner is like sending it through you, or I don't understand.
Yeah, and again, I did this training probably like 20 years ago, but it was like some guy at the top of a mountain was downloaded the Reiki energy codes or something, and then he was able to pass it down to others, and that's how Reiki works. Is a Reiki master has to pass down the energy codes to the students, and then it's like a hands-on where you like channel the energy through your hands into the person.
Oh, and it spreads throughout the world. Oh, that's
something
cool.
like that. Yeah,
that's cool. How do you get out of a string of unlucky events?
I would redefine those events as not being unlucky.
And so say they're big and pressing, right? She has cancer now, and this person died and got a flat tire, right? All in this week. Okay. So
you really know how to go deep into a topic.
I want specifics. I need specifics without asking. Okay. Help me out. It's been a bad week.
So the question is what is reality trying to show me about me?
Okay.
What's it trying to show me about what am I supposed to be getting out of this? Because everything that occurs in physical reality is happening for us. So what is it that I am meant to benefit from this circumstance? And because everything is a co-creation, like if you look at physical stuff, if you learn what it is that you're supposed to learn out of that physical manifestation, then there's no longer purpose for that to stick around. So it will kind of unmanifest itself.
Oh. Okay, so the thing to learn about it. Okay, are you
Here's
able capable of asking that question, or do you need
of course.
like help? Like, but can
I
you?
mean, it's always easier when you have a practitioner, somebody who knows how
Right.
to hold the energy of the problem. When it's their own stuff, it's always kind of harder to decode. Um, but a simple example is like if somebody's got chronic headaches, then those chronic headaches are happening for a reason, because nothing happens for no reason, right? Source is orchestrating from that place of unconditional love. So once you gain the awareness that is meant to be gained through those headaches, then the circumstance shifts, right? So for most people, headaches, it relates to pressure in some way. You
Okay.
ask somebody that's having chronic headaches, how does that feel? And they'll say it feels like there's too much pressure in my head. And then you say, okay, so what is the pressure you're experiencing in your reality? What's the pressure you're putting on yourself? And as you work through that pressure that they put on themselves and work through the beliefs and the stories that cause that pressure, and that goes away, the headaches have a tendency to go away too.
Does
I've
it
seen that in
typically
a number of clients.
lead to like letting go or action? Typically.
I think the changing of the story will often lead to action.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
How about this with her husband? So the problem is it forces me to pretend I don't see the reaction and takes my attention away. So again, I think there's this person over here, right? When you're saying is, okay, how is it internal? And what can I do about it, right? Like taking ownership?
I think the bigger question is why need it to change?
Okay. Okay.
Right? So if my partner is angry all the time, then the preferred state is not being angry, but they have a right to choose to be angry all the time, and I have a right to decide how I want to respond to that. I can
Right.
allow it to trigger me. I can allow it to not trigger me. I can choose to put up with it, or I can choose to walk away from it.
Right. Yeah, that's way better, right? Ooh. Animal distraction disorder, me too.
That's not because Luna's in the background. Luna, hey, what are you doing? She follows me around the house. Usually I lock her out of the room. I didn't notice she was in here when I shut the door.
Yeah, and check the story you're telling yourself. I think that's it. I think that's exactly it, right?
Yeah,
That's
of
your
course.
message for this week.
Emotions help you identify the beliefs you're practicing, and the beliefs are reinforced by stories.
Right. You've got the answers to everything. You never
I,
fail.
I don't. I just allow what comes through to come through.
That's
And
cool.
for some people, maybe they're the answers, and some people maybe they're not. But it's not up to me to figure it out.
Do you feel like people like take your advice and they're saying, "Oh, now I want to help others"? How often does that happen?
I think it happens a lot.
Mm,
And I think it's not just because it's my advice. I think it's because people naturally want to help other people.
right.
And I think a lot of people that learn about law of attraction and they'll read up on all these concepts and then they want to be a coach and teach it to everybody without having integrated for themselves first. Um, and then they don't see a whole lot of traction in what they're doing. So, the most important thing for anybody who wants to teach this stuff and share this stuff is to embody it to the fullest, because at the end of the day, you can't help people achieve a vibration that you're not practicing yourself.
Right. And do you think it makes it easier to like really understand it? When you're teaching it to others, because you're more living the life. You're now the expert.
Yeah, I mean it's and I don't think people are going to be drawn to people who aren't integrated anyways.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, and no one's walking up to you and asking you questions unless they felt compelled, right?
Yeah.
How about that? Some nice love.
Yeah. Hope to see. I'll be looking for you, Kat.
Well, that was great. Thank you so much.
Totally.
Every week we hit at 105.
I wonder what we're going to talk about next week.
See, that comes. So today was like, yeah, like I said, I felt like so I was looking for clips, right? I was cutting up some clips, and number one, I found myself annoying, and so I was trying to step on you less.
I love the clips that you put together so far, those 2 samples.
I know, I got to make them into shorts. I think that one.
But even as just regular little mini clips on our channel, I think are perfect.
What do you think? Are you drawn to do thumbnails at all or title things?
If you want me to, I can.
I'm just curious because like it felt like I guess it was always easier for me to do more like bombastic things with Abraham-Hicks, and maybe that works with this, but it feels like I don't know, maybe not. I was gonna say inauthentic, but it is true. But maybe I'm too connected to it.
Let me look at the clips and we'll see. People are already asking. Lydia's asking, where are those clips? They're still private, Lydia. We'll share them once we feel like they're ready for mass viewing.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. Maybe that there's just some ceiling that I haven't broken through.
Okay,
because I'm connected to it.
Okay, let's chat. Let's hang up this call. We'll say
all
bye.
Right.
And you and I can talk about it. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate all you live attendees for coming in and playing with us.
Bye.